New edition of the Patriots Beat podcast here on the CLNS Media Podcast Network and on Patriots Press Pass. I'm Evan Lazar, joined as always by Alex Barth, and almost exactly 1 week from right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars will be on the clock and the NFL draft will officially begin next Thursday, 1 week away. It feels like at this point, I have not covered a draft, Alex, where there's less of a consensus of what's going to happen really at any point in the draft. And I think in a lot of cases, the lack of star power, the lack of quarterback star power in particular has lessened the draft excitement a little bit, right? I don't know if there's really as much buzz about the draft this year as years past outside of our bubble. But I love these types of drafts. This is what, for people like us, this is what it's all about. Is you can have an opinion and it's not necessarily controversial to have an opinion that's a little bit different from everybody else's because there isn't as much controversy with this draft or isn't as much groupthink with this draft. And I don't think that that's just in the media. I think that's around the league and in league offices as well, that there isn't. It's a flavor draft. What's your cup of tea? What's your scheme? What are you looking to try to do? That's a big question here going into this draft. It's going to be fun because there's going to be a lot of different moving parts at the top, I think.
And you know what? There's, for people who really get into the class, right? Like us, where my spreadsheet's at like 220 players, something like that.
Yeah.
There's so many weird prospects. And I mean that in the best way. I mean, like Troy Anderson with his whole positional change background, right? A guy like Tariq Woolen. There's some real FCS D2 prospects in this class, whether it's I McCollum. Jason Poe is not a guy we've talked a lot about, but he's gotten some run. The two tackles, right, are not one power five, one non-power five guy, one group of five guy, and then one FBS guy. There's like all these really interesting day three running backs that we haven't told them, but both kinds of backs, right? There's so many niche players in this draft. Like most years, everybody has maybe one or two guys where you talk about, well, outside of the top 100, who do you like? And because I get asked that question a lot. And I normally have one or two guys that I kind of fall back on. I'll normally have one on each side of the ball. I have a different answer to that question every week now. There are so many interesting, fascinating players late in this draft. You talk about the uncertainty at the top. I think late in the draft, it's so how deep can you and this is more for us than the teams because they're doing the digging, obviously, but how deep can you really dig? Because you keep going. I think, wow, I found this guy. I'm not going to top somebody who's more interesting than this one, right? I'm not going to get more interesting than Johnny Petreshin out of Pitt. And then I find Jared Bernhardt from Maryland, and I've written about these guys, 985thesportshub.com if you want to look into it, right?
Nice plug.
Like most years, somebody brings up Jared Stern, right? Most years, Bailey Zappi is like the niche prospect, right? Or Matt Ariza is the niche prospect. We did that months ago.
Right.
We took care of those guys being like the hipster picks months ago. It's a lot of fun in that sense.
I also think that a big reason why that's happening is because of the COVID seasons and the fact that there's a lot of 5th and 6th year seniors. There's a lot of guys that are much older. There's a lot of guys that held off on entering the NFL draft. So this is a very deep draft in terms of just sheer volume or numbers of players in the draft. So it's going to be really interesting to see the UDFA classes. Like, I think this is a year where I would expect the Patriots to have quite a lengthy list of UDFA signings. I think it's going to be a big year for that across the league. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see how all this shakes out. But let's get into it. We're going to pull up the old mock draft simulator here. Tonight
same settings we've been using. I turned this down in case we want to trade up again. We can look into it, but
yes. Yeah. For the most part, we're just winging it. We're going to see how the board falls and we're going to make some decisions from there. And like Alex said, we'll kind of go a little bit slower here at the top to see who goes and see if we do want to make a call to trade up.
Kayvon Thibodeau going number 1. Apparently it's September again. I'm just going to let it go through the top 10. I don't think we're trading up beyond that.
No.
Jameson Williams in the top 10. Let's go, as he should be.
Yeah, so Jameson Williams and Garrett Wilson, 2 wide receivers already off the board.
So
I think that's
still here.
Stingley is still here. I don't think Stingley gets by Houston again at 13. They pick again at 13. It doesn't.
So I think 13 is the highest the Patriots can realistically trade up. These are both cornerback needy teams. So let's see what happens here.
Yeah.
Whoop. And there he goes at 12. Okay. So if you're not getting them, I mean, the only other position we're trading up for is wide receiver, and there's still a bunch of guys on the board. So I think we let it run down a little bit.
Yeah, I think that the conversation to me to trade up, I think it starts at 17 with the Chargers. But again, we talked about this last week. The Chargers have very similar needs on their team to what the Patriots have. So I don't know. It's tough for me to envision the Chargers trading out of 17 and giving the Patriots Chris Olave or giving the Patriots Jordan Davis or something like that, so when they could very much use a player like that on their own roster.
I agree, Jordan Davis. Do they need? I mean, they got Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. Do they need the receiver? Really?
They've been talking. There's a lot of buzz about receivers there. I think the main reason being that
stupid nerd
Keenan Allen's starting to get up there in age a little bit, right? So maybe that's a piece of it. I don't know. Yeah,
let's run this down to 17 because Baltimore is not trading. They have too many needs.
Yeah,
the Eagles and Saints chose those draft positions a couple weeks ago. So they and we said this last week, but the way to trade up here would be the Eagles or Saints package their picks here, like the Saints package 16 to 19 or the Eagles package 15 and 18. They move up, and then the team that traded back there moves one of those picks. Like the way I see it, one of those teams moves up to 7, and then maybe the Giants trade out and want a future asset. So unfortunately, maybe that's the PFF. Look, added punters. That was great. And they made it so you can trade players. That's also very good. The next one is that when you're doing these mocks, the computer trades with itself. I think that's tough. I'm not a computer programmer. I'm guessing that's tricky, but that's the next level. All right, let's see here. Okay, so there goes McDuffie high.
You're on a little bit of a delay tonight for some reason, so just
weird. Okay,
be wary of that.
Alave's still here.
Okay, I think Alave probably goes at 17 if we let the Chargers pick.
So this works on the trade chart. I don't know if can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it. I don't know. It feels to me like the Patriots have too many holes. I'm just not 100% sold that Bill Belichick's going to want to trade up for a wide receiver. I understand the optics of the league now. Look, I've written about it. We've talked about it ad nauseum. The league is changing. The wide receiver value is changing. Matt Groh came out last week and said they got to be aggressive. They have to be proactive about shopping for wide receivers. They can't just sit back and hope that one falls. In my mind, though, I think their approach to the first round is going to be similar to what it was last year, which was Mac fell in their laps, right? Let's face it. Like, it's not that I'm not saying it was their faults or like it shouldn't be looked at as a negative that that's what happened. Yeah. But they were sitting there at 15. Mac Jones fell in their laps and they took Mac Jones. If Mac Jones had came off the board in the first 14 picks, then they probably trade out of that pick, honestly, and look to accumulate assets. I think this is a very similar approach where they'll sit at 21. If somebody they absolutely love is still on the board at 21, they make the pick. Otherwise, they're trading back. I just don't know. I can't part with picks in this draft to trade up for it. I just can't.
So we could also move back from 54 to add picks, but then that's basically my mock draft I'm publishing on Monday. So for the sake of keeping that, like literally, that's where I got this trade from. I think when Matt Groh talked about, teams around the league need to be aggressive, I'm reading between the lines there. He wants to be aggressive and go get a wide receiver. But for the sake of not spoiling my mock draft, which will be up Monday on 985sportsup.com.
And
look, we did this last week with Jordan Davis, and he fell to 21. Yeah. So maybe we get Alave.
I hear you. I mean, the way he talked about it, it's certainly what felt like that's the way the team is thinking. And I think we just got Chris Olave at 21.
We just got Chris Olave. So
I've noticed on the mock draft simulator on PFF that this has been happening more and more. I don't do quite as many of these as other people do, or as maybe you do still, but I did a couple the other day when I was putting together my final mock draft for next week, and he's been falling to the 21. I don't know if they reprogrammed it or they repositioned their board or something like that, but this keeps happening. Are we sure it's realistic? Like, are we sure that we're good with making this pick? And, we do the old stare in the mirror and be able to respect your decisions, right? Are we sold that this is actually something that could realistically happen next week?
So let's look at why it happened. So, I mean, I'm just going to start here because all of these people are going top 21. So Malik Willis went, and I think there's a chance that happened. So here's why it happened. Karlaftis, Booth, Zion Johnson. Those three players probably, like, I would guess Alave goes somewhere in this range.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think Booth is going in the top 20. I think his injuries and his lack of tape at Clemson, he only played 15 games at Clemson. I just don't. I agree with the sentiment that somebody has to fall. I just don't necessarily think it's going to be Chris Olave who somebody is, right? I think that's kind of where I'm at. The biggest thing with Andrew Booth, to me, is the injuries, right? And everything that you hear is that he's going to be somewhere in the 20s to maybe even the late first round. So to have him go this high is high.
So yeah, we did it last week with Davis. People are going to rip us, but that's the understanding, is that this is just the simulator essentially glitching, right? We could just reset this thing right now and try it again, and we won't get him. We could do it 10 times, we won't get him.
Right.
So who would the other options be then? A lot of people saying Wyatt. Based on what they did last year, I don't think he's the pick. They addressed a need, and I get they need to be better along the defensive line. But this is a really good defensive line class. They have other good players there. It's a luxury need. You talk about the immediate needs: corner, linebacker, guard, and we're going to call tackle an immediate need because that's how they manage that position.
Right.
They always stay a year ahead at the position. Isaiah Wynn is in a contract year. Those are the immediate needs: corner, linebacker, guard, tackle. I don't think they're using the 21st pick on a defensive tackle who is going to kind of be behind Christian Barmore. He's a good player. If they didn't draft Barmore last year, this would make a lot of sense. This is based on how Matt Groh operated last year. We know we had a big say in it last year, and he's back. This doesn't seem like the pick. Devontae Wyatt is the pick they make in 2017, 18, 19.
Yeah,
where they double up on these guys and bury rookies.
It does also feel like Wyatt, at least recently, there's been some buzz that he might actually fall a little bit in this draft and won't be a surefire first-round guy. So I just pulled this up because I always find this interesting every year. Araf Hassan on The Athletic, he does a consensus board of his own where he takes like the 50 most prominent NFL draft writers in the community and puts this together at the end of the process, not like an evolving board, but one board at the end of the process. He has Chris Olave at 19. So it's only 2 spots, right? Like it's not like we're talking about people are having, it's not Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams consensus right now is 11. So if we somehow magically had Jameson Williams fall in our lap, I think we'd have to question that.
I would make us pass on that. I respect Jameson Williams too much.
Right now, Chris Olave is at 19. So crazier things have happened for a guy to go from 19 to 21 on a board, right? I mean, especially if you start to throw in maybe another quarterback. I think Malik Willis went in this one, right?
Malik Willis is the only quarterback that went.
Right. So maybe another quarterback sneaks into the top 20 or something like that. I feel like you can get by with Olave here. Look, Justin Jefferson a couple of years ago, I think, is a really not necessarily playing style comp, but in terms of level of talent, I think he went 21 or 22 to Minnesota, right?
He went 21 because the Patriots are the 22nd pick. 22. Yeah. The Patriots are the 23rd pick.
Right. So we're talking about right in the same exact range as Justin Jefferson here.
I'm looking at this too. Last year, so they have him what? Not two ahead of where we would take him.
Yes.
Mac Jones on the consensus board we used was 13 last year.
There you go.
2 picks in the top 15 is a lot bigger. I might be okay with it. Weirder things have happened. We've done this exercise a lot. It's ultimately to teach people the players. People know the players.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay with it.
All right.
Although somebody said passing on Alave is the most Belichick move you could make if you really want to simulate what they would do. I think it's Matt Groh's board. I think Matt Groh has the keys more. Bill ultimately has final say, but I think Matt Groh has a lot more pull than people realize.
We have texted back and forth. Yeah, we have texted back and forth a lot about how I will probably decide to maybe take a walk to the Tobin Bridge if the Patriots pass on Chris Olave at 21.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with all of you. I don't think you can pass on a guy like this.
And look at that, Evan. This comment's meant for you. After missing on Justin Jefferson, we deserve Olave to fall.
I agree. All right, let's
do it. Chris Olave.
We talked ourselves into it.
And then I'm going to let it run 54 because we're not going to trade up again. Probably not.
So you don't think
we're not going to trade up again, right?
The one guy that I've sort of gotten it. Well, take Chris Olave. That's who we're taking at 21. When I look at corner,
we're not back up into the first round. I'm going to go to the end.
No. When we look at corner, I do think that you have to start maybe thinking about the drop off at corner, right? Because Kaiir Elam goes there to Buffalo at 25. I think Roger McCreary is a good player. I'm not sure if that necessarily checks the need that they need. Really sticky guy in coverage. I think his size is probably going to limit him to playing mostly in the slot. The only guy that I feel like at outside corner that could come in, and we just took Chris Olave, so we took an offensive player, right? So now you're going to have to start thinking about defensive impact, somebody that can come in and play right away. The only other guy on this board that I feel comfortable with at outside corner as a day one impact guy is Kyler Gordon from Washington. I think that he's going to be in that 35 to 40 range. So it would take a little bit to trade up for him. No doubt about it, right? You're going to have to give up some assets here to get back up from 54. But once we did this last week, we drafted Martin Emerson in the second round. We both like Martin Emerson, but it's probably a round earlier than we wanted to take him. It's certainly early for guys like Zion McCollum, Tariq Woolen. I think those developmental guys should be third-round picks. The drop-off there at corner is legitimate where you start to worry about that. And I'd also say we could probably sit at 54 and get a linebacker, right? That if we sit there, then one of Troy Anderson, Quay Walker, Leo Chenal, someone like that will probably be there at 54. So the question is do we think that it's more immediate for them to get that linebacker, because then we can just stay at 54 and pick? Or do we think that it's a real, true, immediate need that they have to climb up to get a corner?
The corner, but because I don't think the Jaguars or Lions are moving. They need talent.
Right.
Bill's not trading with the Jets. So let's bump through these three real quick because we're realistically not getting the guy here. All right, he's still here.
Yes. So
this is
right where I think that we're. So I think that trading up to 37 with Houston is really high. And from Nick Caserio.
So we're at 36 right now. We're at the Giants at 36.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think he's trading with the Giants.
All right.
37 with Houston. Nick Caserio spoke to the media today and said that didn't really give very many indications that would suggest that they're planning on moving back anytime in the draft. I think that they're looking to add day one impact players with their first three picks. So I don't think that the Texans dropping from 37 to 54 is in the realm of possibility in Houston. I think it's too far of a drop for them.
All right, so we'll keep moving, and then we got the Jets again.
Yep.
Interesting. Kenny Pickett.
That's it.
The Jets aren't trading that pick. The Bears' first pick.
Yeah, so they're probably not trading back from their first pick.
Right, so now teams, when they're in this spot, they normally don't trade the first one. So we're gonna go one more. Yeah, please take Sam Howell, Seattle.
Oh my gosh.
The end.
I don't know. Kyler Gordon's not really a great fit in the Seattle 3. I mean,
I'm not saying they have to take Kyler Gordon. I just wouldn't draft. I don't think Sam Howell's a day 2 quarterback.
No, me neither. I'm just saying that I don't think that's a spot that Kyler Gordon's necessarily going to go. That you're going to.
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah. I'm just Sam Howell, all the talent left UNC, and then Sam Howell was bad, and people try to act like those two things aren't related, and I find it hilarious. There's nothing.
I watched their running back that's in the draft. Chandler, Ty Chandler.
Yeah, they generally have good running backs.
Out of the corner of my eye, I was obviously looking at Howell a little bit too, and my goodness, is that tape bad?
He's just worse Baker. Look at what's going on with Baker right now. He's just worse Baker. All right. So here, moving up 41 to 54, we would need to give them 146. So we need to give them about 40 points worth of picks. So that would be, and probably more, because you have to overpay to trade up. So, I mean, we'd pretty much have to give them 54 and 85 or 54 and a future second.
So we couldn't give them. So I don't mind the idea of the future pick, right? Because they protected all of their comp picks by not going out and signing a bunch of free agents, right? So they are going to recoup a lot of these picks. Like the fourth round, they have 2 fourth rounders next year already. And then they're going to get another 4th rounder in the comp pick formula. So, or maybe it's a 3rd, right? For JC. I'm trying to think if they get, we'll see what happens with the formula, but they're going to get another day 3 pick. At least one.
Right.
So they're going to recoup some of that asset. So I don't mind if we can. I don't know if 54, 127 and a future 4th is enough.
No, it would be 54, 127. So it would be 54, 127 a future 3rd. They don't have that.
Right. They don't have the 3rd yet.
Right. So it would be 54, 127 a future 2nd.
Okay.
We could also, or we could package the 2 fifths, 54, the 2 fifths in a 2nd.
Okay. I like the 2 fifths in the 2nd better. I like keeping 127 because I think that gives you 4 solid bites at the apple, right?
There is a real chance. So here's what I will say. There is a real chance if you do this trade, you have 1 top 100 pick next year.
Right. I don't think they're doing that. So
I don't think it's happening. I don't think they're moving that 2nd.
So I think that we can let the board run and we can see if Kyler Gordon falls a little bit further and we can get him for less, or we sit at 54 and we take the best linebacker available. I think that's kind of where we're at.
We might as well let the board go. Okay, so there goes Kenny Walker, Skylar Moore. So where are we now? We're at Atlanta?
Yes, 43.
So this is 30 points worth of picks. So now you're looking at we could probably do 54, 127 in the higher 5th, I think.
Yep.
So that's 126 plus 11 is 137.
Yes.
So we need to give him a little more. If he can get to Minnesota, we basically need him to get 3 more picks.
All right, let's give it a whirl because I still like the idea of taking linebacker at 54 anyways if this falls through, right? So it's not the end of the world.
So more Peach be able to pause this in time too. That's the other tricky thing here. Okay, there we go. Now it's respecting the speed. Thank you. Go faster than that. I broke it. Whoop. Okay.
Jaquan Brisker.
So he did make it.
This is crazy. This is a big fall for Kyler Gordon. This is probably
now we got to play our game again. Now is it realistic? I think it is, but
I think he's a top 50 pick, but back end of the top 50, I guess it's not terribly unrealistic, right? I mean, I think this is a little bit crazy, but not
so the
totally
one thing we're doing here, we're leaving a massive gap. We're going almost 100 picks without taking a player.
We are. But the question that I have that I also kind of wrestle with when I do these mock drafts myself is, do they need to prioritize volume, right? I guess, because next year they do have a lot of free agents. They're losing almost half their roster. Not right.
No, they do need to prioritize volume.
Yeah, I do think that volume is important to a degree, but I don't know if it's more important than impact, right?
I think they see them as one and the same. I think they see them as one and the same. I think they see volume and impact as the same. You're going to have less of an impact with less guys because you have less shots at the board, and therefore you have less of a chance of hitting on
then I don't think that they make this trade up until it's 5 picks, 4 picks, and all they have to give up is the 5th and a 6th or something like that.
I'll say the number again. in the last 10 years, or no, it's 12 years. In the last 12 years, they've drafted 7 or fewer players just twice. They took 6 one year, and then in 2017 they took 4, which was kind of a weird thing because they traded a first for Brandon Cooks and they lost a pick for Deflategate.
Yeah.
So they want 7 is their basement.
Yeah.
If we make this trade, it's 6.
Okay, let's keep it rolling. I think we keep it rolling. I think we keep the picks. If Kyler Gordon falls to 54 by some miracle,
nope, Washington took him.
Okay, all right. Well, he wasn't going to fall. I think him dropping all the way to 54 is crazy. Okay. Anyways,
this is crazy too. We just missed Quay Walker at 52.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a real. I could see them moving up a couple picks for Quay Walker too.
Oh, do you have the board of who we've taken, by the way? We took Alave with the first pick.
Yeah, we took Alave with the first pick. We're still working here. Look, he's staring right at you at the top of the board. I understand that people want a little bit more athleticism, and I know Leo Chenal tested through the roof in Indy at the combine, but when you watch him on tape, he's stiffer than what he tested. I don't think his agility and his change of direction in space and his ability to cover in the passing game are as good as his athletic profile at the combine might suggest, right? I don't think this is a high level cover talent at linebacker. But that being said, there are very few prospects in this draft that do the things that they want a player to do at that position better than Leo Chenal when it comes to fitting the run, rushing the passer, just being an absolute menace in the box. This guy it checks all of those boxes. 250 pounds, a thumper, but got some new age athleticism to him. It's hard to argue that Leo Chenal is not a perfect fit for them. He really is, to me, exactly what they want at linebacker.
But at the same time, I would say so is Troy Anderson, so is Chad Mumma. All three
I don't think Troy Anderson. I think Troy Anderson's really raw. I don't know if he's quite as refined, and his processing I don't think is quite as good. Mumma's processing and refinement is fantastic. I don't know if he has the take on and the aggressiveness coming downhill like Leo Chenal does. So I agree with you that those guys are good too. Neither one of them are getting to 85 though. So if we're taking a pick here at 54, we got to decide which one we want now.
Well, so can I show you a trade I've kind of been toying with?
Sure.
I want to make sure I get this right. So it's this. So we moved down 10 spots. We moved down 20 spots in the 4th round. We add an extra top 100 pick, and then this balances it out on the trade chart. Minnesota might suck next year, so that might be a top 5 pick in the 7th round, just to balance it out. But move back 10 spots? Yes, I'm brutal. I know how to play the board. I suck.
Okay, so you're moving back 10 spots, and why are we throwing? We're getting 96. What's happening here? We're getting 96.
We're moving back 10 spots.
And we're adding
moving back 20 spots in the 4th round. We're moving back from 127 to 145.
Okay.
We add 96 for adding.
No, we have 85, 96, 64.
Yes,
we already took the wide receiver. So we're going defense with this pick, I would think, right? I mean, we got to go defense here. So the question is do you think that one of these linebackers is going to make it to 64? We talked about Chenal, we talked about Mumma, we talked about Anderson. I think the way the board has fallen, we need to come away with one of those guys from this draft. We can't get stuck with Brian Asamoah again, right? We got to come away with one of those 3 guys here.
See, I'm just still so into the idea of adding the extra top 100 pick. That's, to me, I think is such a focus. I mean, we could try.
Yeah. I hear you.
So the other team I would look at, we could do something similar with Niners.
That's a good relationship there, right? I mean, that's just a little bit higher.
We could throw Debo in. I'm kidding.
Just Debo on top, no problem.
So this, and then we have to throw on one of the 5ths too. No, we don't. That was a different one. Yeah, we do. So then there's this, where we don't add any picks, but we move up into the 100.
I don't mind it. I do think that the way the board is breaking right now, we should get away with it. Like we should get probably one of Troy Anderson or Chad Mumma. We're probably going to lose Leo Chenal in this trade.
Okay.
So
see, I think with any of the three, you're happy.
I agree. I think that you can find happiness with any of the three. Put it that way. And I think the other way that I would also, to make the argument for you, the other way that I would also say is, although it was only a 2-year contract for Juwan Bentley, technically speaking, they have a Mike linebacker on the roster, right? And Leo Chenal is not, he's not a Will in their system. Right. He's not playing weak side. He's playing Mike. So Mike or Sam, depending on the package.
Yeah.
So Troy Anderson is the rangy linebacker. Like he's the sideline to sideline guy. He's the guy that can be put in some higher stress coverage situations. So there is that as well, where it's almost like they don't have Hightower, but they have Bentley in that role. So they're kind of looking more for like a Jamie Collins, not necessarily another redundant Hightower. So I can feel the argument for Troy Anderson, and I like him much better at 61. We just got to cross our fingers that he gets there. That's basically where we're at.
All right, I say we do it. I say we do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Big old trade here. A lot of picks flying around.
And
so Troy Anderson went, but Leo Chenal didn't. So there we go.
Right. So we can take whose else is that linebacker just for the sake of argument?
I don't think Mumma went either. I could see this. I actually could see this happening. There's so much focus on the new age guy. And if the Falcons are like a year away, they can let Troy Anderson develop. I could actually I buy this. So Christian Harris is here too, but I think we want that true like 3-down linebacker. Yeah. So it's who do you like better, Chenal or Mumma?
I think I personally think they'll like Chenal better. I love
and that's the pick.
I love me some Chad Mumma though. I think he's a little bit more. I don't know. I don't even think he's more athletic. I think Chenal is just a better player at this point. So I lean towards Chenal here for sure.
I love how far we've come. You hated him when we started. You were so. I used to give you crap that they were going to take him.
To be fair, I don't think anybody. And then I watched him, and I liked him a little bit.
But you got to start watching college football, Evan, because you'll know. You'll know ahead of time.
To be fair, I don't think anybody expected him to test as well.
No, he's a breakout star. I'm busting your balls. But yes, no, this is a good pick. We could package 85 and 93 to move up. I'd rather make both of those picks. So I'm just going to let it run. Agree?
At this point, I look at it and I say corner, tackle, maybe a running back at some point, right? In these next couple picks. I think we need the pick. So yeah, let's take Leo Chenal. We're off to a great start.
Including the picks we made, which right now are Chris Olave and Leo Chenal. We have 9 picks. I think that's a great spot to be. Board kind of screwed us here. It got us back. Cameron Thomas, Kirby Joseph, Wandale, some good Dylan Parham, some good players going there. Saylor, Sam Williams. But let's see. We've got, I know our guy Josh in the chat is probably furious. We haven't taken a corner. Let's look corner offense. Let's look corner offensive line, and they're always liable to take an edge guy on in the third round. So
on the third round. All right. So we have to add another third round pick. We'll get that in there.
So we took our linebacker. We got Marcus Jones. Maybe a little early, not entirely.
Yeah. Look, we're drafting like we're the Patriots, right?
Right.
And if I'm the Patriots, they take 2 guys at the top of the draft in Alave and Chenal who are polished Power 5 big school guys, right? Like these are brand name prospects with these 2 players. With one of these third round picks, I McCollum just feels so much like a Patriot. Like I just can't shake it, and I just feel like you took the name brands already with Alave and Chenal. You're not doing yourself a disservice by taking a little bit more of a developmental guy. Right? I really don't think you are.
So do we take him here or do we take him at 93? Because I have another pitch here for a guy I don't think makes it to 93.
Okay. Who's the guy? Go ahead.
Nicholas Petit-Frere. I know you're not a fan. So I don't think he's a year 1 guy, but you don't need him to be. You still have Isaiah Wynn. I think most of his issues are very coachable. We've talked about this. We trust them taking the raw lineman with the physical traits and getting him ready for 2023 when Isaiah Wynn leaves, right? I think that, first off, Ohio State, right? Blue chip school. He's got the size, 6'5", 315. He's athletic. His hands suck. He doesn't know what to do with his hands. He's like Will Ferrell in Talladega Nights.
His footwork's not great.
They can fix it. They can fix it. And
his issue I see is he's off balance a lot of the time with his feet. His landmarks, he's got to get better at setting to his landmarks and pass protection too. To me, you know what I think is a decent comp for him, honestly, is Yodny Kajust, which they drafted Yodny Kajust. So the reason why Yodny Kajust hasn't had a chance is because he's injured all the time, right? So if Nicholas Petit-Ferrer has the same skill set and he's a healthier version of Yodny Kajust, and he's a developmental tackle in the third round, that's worth sinking your teeth into. But I think the problem is that that's your project on the offensive line, which means we're going to have to dip back into the offensive line and make sure we take a guy that can start at guard at some point here. Because that's not Petit-Ferrer. He's not starting at guard week one.
So here's the thing, and I agree with you. He's a redshirt guy. Sailor went and Parham went. Those are the two starting guards to me in this range. Cam Jurgens, Marquise Hayes, we're reaching now. We don't need to take these guys this high.
No, the guy that I really liked, and we talked to Brandon about this, Brandon Thorne, is Gadecki from Central Michigan, who I think is like an early fourth round pick, probably. So I don't know if he'll get to 134, but he's somebody that I think just has that solid base and foundation that he could be a day one starter at guard.
He went 73.
So I think they really like him on the PFF simulator. Yeah. So a little bit different. So I don't know. Is Sean Ryan still there? My guy from UCLA.
Sean Ryan is still here.
Polished player. I think he's a day one starter at guard. Probably not an NFL tackle. Probably doesn't have the feet or the range to play tackle in the league. If you're looking for the developmental tackle, it's not Sean Ryan. He's a day one starting plug and play guard for the Patriots, though. So I do wonder if they go more that direction with this pick than the developmental tackle. But I could go either way.
They took Matt Light in the second round of 2000.
Yeah.
The year before they moved on from him, they took Nate Solder in the first round.
Yeah.
They took Isaiah Wynn in the first round.
Yeah.
They're not going to Mickey Mouse. They're not going to Mickey Mouse the tackle. I think they will value the developmental tackle more than the starting day one guard. You've made this point to me, Evan.
Yeah.
You don't trade Shaq Mason unless you have somebody in the building right now you think can handle that role week one.
Okay. So
I think they have a week one starter at tackle at guard in the building. They're not going to use a top 100 pick on one.
So is it a guy like Petit-Ferrer? Is it a guy like Deesh from Arizona State, who I think
Deesh has no upside? Deesh is a swing tackle through and through.
Yeah, he's 25.
He's not a starter. He's not at left tackle for the New England.
You're talking me into it. I would feel better about Petit-Ferrer. I also like Rasheed Walker a little bit. I think he's a solid developmental tackle option here.
Penn State.
I don't know. They don't draft a lot of guys from Ohio State either. I also wonder here at 85, we're probably gonna get either one of these guys at 93 too, based off of where they have them.
I didn't see this, Evan. Fulele fell.
He could fall because his athletic profile stinks, right? He's not an athlete, you know. He's not. He's not a left tackle. No, you're right. A left tackle. He's probably a right tackle. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not him here.
Okay, so you talked me into it. I'll let you take your guy from Ohio State.
Okay. You know what? If you want, you were excited about McCollum. You want to take McCollum here? We'll see if he falls. If not, we'll reassess.
Sure. I just can't. If they don't take a corner in the top 50, like if they don't take a Booth or a McDuffie or a Gordon or someone like that in the top 50, how can they not come away with I McCollum from this draft, right?
That's true.
He's literally their guy.
Jalen Amore Davis, I think he's a prospect too. I really like, but
he's definitely the other one that I think that they would talk about here, or maybe not necessarily here, but as that corner that they take in this draft.
Yeah.
They're going to have to get a real hard sell job about how good Amore Davis is in the building from Nick Saban to make that pick, right? Because
that's the book on him right now, at least externally. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate doubling up at corner either. Maybe we get a shot at him later. We do need to fit Alabama in at some point. But we'll take Zion McCollum here.
Don't you agree that the Zion McCollum round or two reach is just that?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler got us. Petit Frere next pick. Although Martin Emerson goes here, like that could have been McCollum.
Yeah.
So I still think I don't think they leave the top 100 without Isaiah Wynn's replacement. I don't know who it is from this group.
I hear you.
If we want to say they break the trend and go Rasheed Walker, like, do you believe he has the side of a franchise left tackle?
Franchise left tackle is lofty in the third round in any mock draft, but I do think that he can be a starting tackle.
Specifically left tackle.
Yeah. I love his power. I love his grip strength. I think he's got a really strong upper body. I think he can move people in the run game day one. I think he's got that kind of functional strength about him. The footwork and the athleticism and the pass protection, it's a work in progress. I mean, I love Sean Ryan too here. I really do. I don't know.
As a tackle, though? As a tackle.
No, as a guard. I don't know if top 100 is the guard need. Like, I don't know if they need to take a guard in the top 100, but now our next pick's 134, 158. Like, we're talking about getting a little bit low here in terms of when we're going to take a guy that could have the upside to be a guard, right? Starting guard in their system. So Joe Thuney was the third round pick. Shaq Mason was a fourth round pick, right? So this is about where they start to have this conversation.
I think the tackle conversation is more pressing.
I hear you. All right. Well, yeah, Fortner's still like there are still. I think Rasheed Walker could break the mold in terms of Penn State. Okay. Where I know we have always been on that angle, right? That they don't love Penn State guys.
I mean, we're just hammering the Big Ten right now.
Yeah, why? It's a good conference. So
no, it is the second best conference in college football played. We got to hit the SEC later in this draft, though.
I think Rasheed Walker's got starter potential. I mean, all right. All these guys at this point need some work, right? You know, the one other thing I'd say about Rasheed Walker is that he made 32 starts, so he has a lot of experience. Okay. So that's a big thing too that I think that they would like at that spot, right? This is not Bernard Raymond started 18 games at a low-level school in Central Michigan, you know? So this is a guy that's got some experience to him.
Yep. I just want to make sure nobody else obvious fell. I don't really think so. Yeah. No. A couple months ago, David Bell was first round pick. Remember that? Good times. Big Ten. No, Rasheed Walker's the guy. I think they're going tackle here.
All right. Let's take Rasheed Walker.
All right. So while this zips through, you want to just pull up the board, refresh the top 100 there?
Yes. So we just completed the top 100. We got it. We got Chris Alave in the first round, fell in our laps, had to do it. Leo Chenal, really, really good fit for the Patriots at linebacker, plugs the gaps, can rush the passer from multiple alignments, can place him in space, much better athletic tester than we expected. I think that he just checks so many boxes there. Zion McCollum, I really think Zion McCollum is going to be a stud in the NFL eventually if he's on the right coaching staff with the right coaches. I think the Patriots, the way that they develop corners, I know they haven't had the best of luck at the top of the draft developing corners, but I think that he's going to be a really good player for them. To me, I think Zion McCollum is Kyle Duggar 2.0, just a corner instead of a safety. I think it's exactly the same thing. Great athlete, great tape down at that level. Rasheed Walker from Penn State, grip strength, strong, burly guy. I think he's got good length. I think he's got good upper body strength. I don't know. Maybe there is some upside there with his footwork and stuff like that. Refine it a little bit. I think you could you're going to get a really serviceable right tackle. I think maybe you can have a left tackle there too as well. So I think what we got here, 2 picks at the top with Alave and Chenal that I think make a day one impact immediately. I think Zion McCollum.
No, I think this is a good draft so far.
Yeah, I think Zion McCollum and Rasheed Walker are a little bit more long-term, right? Developmental type of style.
But that's fine. That's fine. They need corner, they need whatever. But
right.
Tackle, you have a year with that guy. I think that's fine.
Yep.
So I wouldn't hate, back to the board here. I don't hate doubling up at corner. I don't. Josh Jobe is still here. Josh Jobe is still here. I think be an interesting pick.
Kobe Bryant's still here is a good pick too.
Yeah. There's some interior linemen we'll get to a little bit later. Nobody really right now.
I do love
starting
Jason
day 3 with the running back. They've done that. We've got. So we haven't talked, I don't think at all about him. Tyler Algier from BYU. Really interesting when you're looking at the Patriots. You're nodding. Have you watched him?
A little bit. I've done a initial stages on the report.
So he's first off, he doesn't fumble, which is that's where you look at Patriots. And I know we've talked a lot about pass catching backs, but with Damian Harris, and he's not that at all. He's a power back.
No.
But with Damian Harris on a contract year, 5'11", 224, ran a 4.6 flat. Again, he's one of these guys, he doesn't lose yards. He doesn't gain yards, but he doesn't lose yards. He's hard to tackle, and he holds on to the football. That's their guy. Now, so is Hassan Haskins, who we can get much later.
Yes.
But it's a little bit of a fall for Algier. They also, if we're doing it, they don't really draft BYU guys. If we still haven't taken like a defensive lineman or an edge, which is probably something we should address.
Yeah, they would definitely do this at some point.
So, I mean, if we want
Matthew Butler and Neil Farrell are like the nose tackles, right? Or the interior D linemen.
Yeah, I like Neil Farrell.
Me too. I think he can play for them. I don't think he's going to be a difference maker, but I think he'll play. I think he'll be a solid guy.
Well, they just need they able to eat blocks. And look, we can get one later. We can wait. We can get Benio. We can get Marquand, Noah Ellis.
So I really like Christopher Allen from Alabama. I know a lot of people are talking about Amar Davis. Christopher Allen had a similar injury-riddled career at Alabama, right?
He's another level. Amar Davis wasn't hurt. He just didn't play. Alabama had a ton of good corners.
Right. So
Christopher just couldn't get on the field. Christopher Davis he was hurt pretty much for 4 straight years.
Yeah. But he's got Patriots edge setter written all over him if they can keep him on the field, right? I mean, he's a strong, well-built, thick-framed edge rusher. Like he's a power.
Yeah. It's too early. He's
too early. I'm just saying when we're talking about edge rushers, like I think a guy like Christopher Allen in the 5th round makes a lot of sense for the way that they want those guys to play. I also don't it might be a little early for him here too with the 40 time, but Kieran Williams from Notre Dame is really interesting. And that's another school that they don't draft from either. So we got to keep doing this where they don't draft from this school. But the reason why I say he's interesting is because he is by far the most pro-ready receiving back in this class. Not even close, by far. And especially in pass protection. And James White's coming back from the injury. There's clearly not sold on J.J. Taylor as a player. I don't know if they think that J.J. Taylor is an NFL player. Brandon Bolden's not in the building anymore. There is a very real possibility that they will not have a receiving back to play if they don't take one, right? I mean, there's a real possibility. And if they need to also think about the fact that they might have to have the receiving back play as a rookie, then Kieran Williams is the only one of this group that I think has a chance to play as a rookie in the Patriots system. And that's lofty as it is. Shane Vereen didn't play as a rookie. Right. Woodhead didn't play as a rookie. White didn't play as a rookie. But if they absolutely need to put a rookie out there on 3rd down, the only guy in this draft that has the resume to do that is Williams. So,
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. Maybe outside of the top 100. You don't think that James Cook could do that?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess you're right. Outside of the top 100, sure.
So, by the way, I would add this too. For the Notre Dame thing, I'm looking at this right now, and thank you who pointed this out in the chat. So, they haven't taken a Notre Dame player since 2007.
Yeah,
but prior to that, they actually took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They took 6 under Belichick. He might just hate Brian Kelly. Now, I wouldn't blame him. Brian Kelly's gone. I mean, he's still a Brian Kelly player, I guess, so it doesn't really work. But, they might dip back in Notre Dame again, and they might just bail on LSU. Brian Kelly's, not a good coach.
Yeah.
How Notre Dame players rarely hit. I know there's a couple in the league right now. Claypool is one of them, but
yeah. So the question that I have,
their busts.
So the question I have here is, do we double up at a position like corner?
Yeah,
I think that's definitely not a terrible idea to hedge our bets there with I McCollum, or do we take the running back now? Because we could wait till 158 and probably get a solid running back. I would also put like doubling up on offensive line, right? Getting a guard here not a terrible idea either.
So I think there's a guard we can get a little later. I think Josh Jobe. I think Josh Jobe. He fell at this point.
Yeah.
And he was a first round pick at one point. He just had a down year.
Right.
Like remember last year they took a bunch of guys who were better 2 years ago than the year before? Like that's Josh Jobe to me.
Yeah, he definitely has the physicality and the press man ability, and he comes from a system that's basically a carbon copy of the way the Patriots run their coverage. So if I McCollum, if they have to wait on I McCollum for a year until he's ready to play at this level, Josh Jobe could probably play as a rookie in the way that they run their scheme. So
and we also did. I mean, we took Chanel. If that's the pick, they're sticking with press man. They're just going to make it work with the personnel they have.
Yeah.
So Josh Jobe's the fit. So I think Josh Jobe.
Okay. I think we do Josh Jobe, and then I think we go with an interior offensive lineman and a running back with those 5th round picks.
So I think we do. Well, we only have one 5th round pick left because we traded one.
Oh, right. Well, we have what, 221 now. Okay.
So we have 158 and then down to 200.
Okay. I got you.
I will say I'm going to kind of pause this at the end of the 4th round.
So we took Josh Jobe, right? I just want to write it.
We took Josh Jobe, yeah. Like, I don't know if he gets there. Like, I wouldn't hate moving up a little bit. Like, we could do. We could actually get our 7th back. So, like, this work. I think this works. Hang on, let me see. 144, 158. I'll tell you why I'm doing this in a second because I don't think he's going to get all the way down to where we would need to go. 15 points. We would be giving up 22. So that's a 7-point gap. And then we're trading what, 200?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So this works. I don't know if Kieran Williams is still here. If he went, that's honestly not who I'm moving up for. I want Tyler Beatty.
I love Tyler Beatty. I really do. I
was actually trying to move up to the last round, but
I think Tyler Beatty
is a
dude. I think that guy's going to be a monster. He's really well built, like for his size. Like he's only 5'8", but he's a thick 5'8", right? Kind of like a Dion Lewis 5'8". You know, he's got thick lower half. I think he can take on contact and be just fine. Really electric with the football in his hands. Quick, little jump cuts, lateral quickness, in and out of the break. I think that he's going to be a really good back. I think he's much more like Rex Burkhead than James White in terms of his usage too, right? He can kind of do it all. Last year in college, I think it was 1,900 yards and 18 touchdowns for him. I mean, that is
production
wild.
Monster.
Yeah.
Plays some wide receiver too. Doesn't fumble. Another guy does not fumble. He had the most receptions over the last 3 years. He had the most receptions in college football or FBS without a fumble.
We both love
running back. So
the
only other thing I'd say is, people bring this up in the chat. We said we would do this when we felt we had a good draft. This is a riser range. This is a riser range here.
So I'm coming around to the idea that they might draft a punter, but we already went Penn State once in this mock, so I don't think we can do it twice.
And I think we took Jordan Stout last week, didn't we?
I don't think so. We took EJ Perry. We took a quarterback.
Oh, you're right.
Stout that's so them to not.
They're gonna like Stout better. You're right. They're gonna like Stout better. As much as I hate to admit it.
Yeah. So I love Tyler Beatty. I think that that's a great pick. And one thing that they do really like, and we've already taken 2 guys at the top. And even if you want to talk about I McCollum in terms of college production at that level, they love guys that produce in college. Like they love big time producers like that. They always cite that whenever they draft somebody that had great stats in college, they always talk about it. That 1,900 yards and 18 touchdowns from Tyler Beatty last year is a monster number. Like that's a productive back. I love Tyler Beatty. I'm all for trading up to try to grab Tyler Beatty here.
All right. So I wanted the last pick in the 4th round because they hate picking in the 5th round. So just pretend I stopped it in time, but
fine. So this is
we're gonna get How do they have that? That's not Gilmore. How do they have that 7th round pick? Oh, because they got that from the Patriots, sent that to Miami for Isaiah Ford, and then Carolina traded some guard to Miami, and that's how they got it. So
let's make this trade.
Yeah.
People in the chat are bringing up an interesting point, Alex. We could try to trade N'Keal Harry for a pick.
We could. So let's get to like 221 because we're not getting a top 200 pick for him.
No.
So let's get to 210 and see what the board looks like. But I was thinking that. But we agree Tyler Beatty here. It's a little high, but yeah, I think he's the kind of guy they would take high. And SEC and all of that. So
I don't think Tyler Beatty's just a passing downs back either. Like I think he can do it all.
He's kind of a slot receiver.
He's a fun player.
So, all right, now we do have a little bit of a gap here. We have about a 50 pick gap here, but they don't like the 5th round. They're fine with this gap.
They've had gaps like this before. When they make this many picks early,
right?
You know they've had gaps like this before. So here's our draft so far: Alave, Chenal, McCollum, Rasheed Walker from Penn State, the tackle, Josh Jobe, and Tyler Beatty from Missouri. I think we got some dudes in this draft. I like this one. I mean, we got lucky with Chenal and Alave falling in our laps at the top, but hey, we'll take the luck. You know, the simulator messed with us early.
Look, it's getting us back in the later rounds. Look at what happened here. Ty Chandler, Hassan Haskins, 2 picks before, and honestly, Smoke Monday would have made sense here too.
Yeah,
would have been a pick. So, okay, so hang your guard.
I do.
This is a guy I'm a little late on, but I like him. Josh Ezeudu.
Okay.
North Carolina. I don't know if you've watched him.
I watched North Carolina's run game today. So which guard?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head. You're asking the guy who can't tell his left and his right apart. But basically, here's the best way to sum it up. And I thought Lance Zierlein did a good job of this. He just needs to be coached up. He's got the size. He's got the athleticism. He's got the mentality. His technique's just kind of a mess. That's their guy, especially here. You know who else is in the 6th round? Michael Onwenu.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's week 1 starter, but he could be a year 1 starter. You get to November, you need to make that switch.
Right. So the thing about it is, with I can't remember him specifically, but obviously I watched the run game as a whole, watching Ty.
I'm going to tell you which side he played in a second. I'll give you his size too.
So the biggest thing that stands out to me every single year, and look, North Carolina's had some really, really good backs come through there, right? Like Michael Carter and some of the other backs that they had. Ty Chandler's the one this year. He's a really solid back. So some of it could be the fact that they've had really, really good running backs as well, but they always block it up well. Like they have a really good run scheme. There's a lot of blocks in there that you are NFL style blocks. Like you see guys pulling, you see guys comboing, you see guys double team, you see guys scoop block in the zone game. They do a bunch of different things that NFL teams do. It always seems like the first couple of yards are easy for the backs. I really like what North Carolina has put on tape in the run game for 2, 3, 4 years going now, and they keep on getting their running backs drafted. Maybe the offensive lineman deserves some love.
So I'm looking this up right now. He was their left guard.
Yeah, that left guard played some good games. He did.
He's been their left guard, 6'4", 324. Or sorry, played at 324 last year. He was down to 308 at the combine, so he's probably going to play about 315, 320 in the league, right?
Right.
And I just saw something else I wanted to tell you. The NFL comp is Alex Redmond, who they like.
He's on. I believe he's still on their practice squad.
No, he's free agent. But
did they let him go? Okay.
Did they bring him back? They might have brought him back. They like Alex Redmond. Is the point.
Yeah. He's been on he was on their practice squad for a long time. That's all I know. So their other guard is draftable too. So I was right that they blocked it up well, right? I mean, those guys blocked it up well. So all right, you've convinced me. I'm game. Let's do it. That's what I'm looking for.
Let's do it. So then, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good right now. Oh, raise a win. There we go. 216. That's too low.
Oh my God.
Let's just look at the positions. So, no, okay. I thought maybe Bailey Zappi fell. We could double up at receiver. So, Josh Johnson, this is probably too low. This is probably, we got to play the simulators game. Oh, you know who would be perfect here? He's not in here. Is Samori Toure from Nebraska.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
He's not in the PFF simulator, but this would be a great spot to take him.
Can you pull up edge? Like my guy Christopher Allen probably went, right?
So no, he didn't. And this is the spot to take Christopher Allen.
I think Christopher Allen's a great pick. Like, especially if Saban says to Bill, like, kid works hard, he's just always hurt, right? Like, we like the kid, he's just always hurt. He's one of those guys that I've just heard so much about that if they had him too, like, it would have just been ridiculous, right? They already had good edge rushers without him. If they had him too, him, Will Anderson, all those guys, it would have been stupid. So I like the idea of Christopher Allen. If they can keep him on the field by some miracle, he's got the edge setting qualities that they want at that spot. He is a heavy edge defender, and that's exactly what they want. And I think at 242, we could still get one of our nose tackles too. So we could just get some beef here at the end of this draft.
So that's what I was going to say. Like, do you want Allen and Wade on the nose tackle, or do you want Noah Ellis might not make it to 242?
Yeah.
We want him.
Between Noah Ellis, Marquand McCall, and I'm assuming that, like Hinton's still here. Like one of these nose tackles.
Hinton's not really a nose tackle. DJ Davidson would be the next guy.
Yeah, so one of those nose tackles has got to make it, right?
Okay, so I'm fine with Christopher Allen here. That feels about right.
Yeah, let's get Christopher Allen here.
All right, I think we made the pick of the 2nd, 4th, and 6th round. We got all the picks the Rams traded away. Just ended up. All right, so Noah Ellis still here. Hang on, I got to look at this. I'm curious what the consensus board says. We might have to respect the board on this one.
Yeah, Noah Ellis here.
DJ Davidson is the guy that's like the fringe UDFA.
Yeah. Let's see where this one has him. As we both down at owns. Really good video, Alex.
Oh no, some people. All right, not a lot of people. I'm going in the 7th. Have we? I think we've taken them before. You know what? Here's the other thing too. They're like, just to kind of honor the exercise. They're kind of into Arizona State right now. I don't know if you picked up on that. They met with 3 guys the last couple of years.
Yeah, we could take.
I think pull up the big board. I think if we take DJ Davidson, we hit every Power 5 conference. Did we? Did we get Big 12? Bama, UNC, Missouri. Yeah, Missouri was in the Big 12 at one point.
Yeah.
Also, Big 12 is not going to exist anymore in like 5 years. So
I like DJ Davidson here. I do.
I agree. I think
we go at the back end of this draft. We just got some beef, right? I mean, we got some guys that can set the run. Leo Chenal can obviously do that as well. This is our best draft yet. I don't know if they're going to get Alave at 21, but we nailed this one.
We could. I mean, look, we could trade Nikhil if we wanted to make another pick. We got everybody we wanted. I'm happy with it.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like.
Hang on, somebody is calling. The Bucks are calling. Do we want to make 2 picks instead of 1?
Do we have to? Who else are we going to pick? A punter?
I double up at wide receiver, or take a safety.
I don't think they have the roster spots to double up at wide receiver. They already got 4 guys on the roster, and then we just added Chris Olave. That's 5.
Oh no, I know who we could take. Hang on. If they do this, I know who we could take. I don't think they're gonna do this. I was gonna say we could take Drew Hartlob.
Is Stout's not on the board anymore? He's gone.
Stout is on the board. We could take Stout. I don't even know if Drew Hartlob's in here actually.
Because we could take Stout, and then we could probably get DJ Davidson with the 2nd, 7th round pick.
Yeah, no, the Bucks won't do it. So,
all right.
Although then again, I'm gonna try one more thing because they may feel confident they're gonna get multiple comp picks next year. Right?
They could. They could. Well, they're gonna get what? They're gonna get a 6th most likely. I think it is for Ted Karras. So they're gonna get something back there on the late end of day 3.
Let's see. Here we go. It's done.
All right. So I think you gotta take Stout here. I don't think you're gonna get him if you let this run to 261.
I'm wait. 2nd last pick in the draft. I'm waiting. I honestly am. I don't need Stout.
Punter, I'm telling you to take the punter.
At that point, he's gonna be UDFA.
Right. You're taking him to avoid having to fight for him as a UDFA.
If he gets there, we'll take him. I'm taking Davidson. I'd rather get Davidson.
All right. Hey, it's your board.
And for some reason, it can't comprehend this. There we go. Or I just like do any interesting special teams guys for
right.
Again, Nate Landman's still there.
He is that's like, is he like Larry Izzo? Like I feel like for some reason that's like the comp.
Balin Spector's another.
So did the punter fall or no?
The punter did fall. I want Hartlob. Like this is where they take like Matthew Slater. The other thing we could do is we could double up at running back.
We don't need to.
Greg Bell is like that early down back.
We don't need to double up at running back.
You don't want to double up at running back? Oh,
we're taking the special teams guy here, whether it's a coverage guy or it's the punter. Yeah, those are the two options.
I know you don't want to double up at running back, Evan, but Treston Ebner?
No, we already took similar guys.
All right.
Too similar.
I'm gonna find a special teams guy here.
You could take Landman. I think we might have already taken Landman though.
Honestly, Chance Campbell kind of is. Oh wait, let's see if we can get a Big 12 guy. I'm into this whole idea now that we can.
Jesus, I can't believe you're not going to take the punter. I'm begging you to take the punter, and you won't take the punter.
All right, you know what? It's your pick. I'm going to let you make this pick, and you're going to take the punter.
Although we are taking another Penn State guy, to be fair, and 2 Penn State guys in 1 draft for Bill Belichick might be a little rich. But this is our draft at this point, the 7th round. Our draft. I think Jordan Stout. You're and everybody else is all Matt Araiza, right? That's the guy.
Right.
I think that they might like Jordan Stout better. I'm not going off of anything besides my gut. Like I'm not a punter. I don't know how to scout punters. I don't know what I'm looking at with punters, but I feel like they always go against the grain with those types of things. I think Jordan Stout would be their guy.
So the only thing I'd say, somebody did bring up Eric King. Wouldn't be a bad pick here at all.
Not terrible either.
Chance Campbell from Ole Miss, transfer guy. They like that. Played at Maryland, 6'2", 240. Played a ton of special teams. Like he's not Ebner-esque. Like I'm trying to find basically Nate Ebner is who I want to draft because that's who they missed last year. Let me look at safety. Yeah, nobody. I actually liked Eric King here.
All right. Fine. If you don't want to go with the punter, I'll go with Derek King.
You know what? The other thing is, I don't think Stout's on the board here.
That's fair. He might not be.
Quentin Lake would have been the guy I was looking for.
Let's go with Derek King because although I think that they would like to ideally bring Derek King as a UDFA, but because they got him, they got this extra 7th round pick, they can take him and not have to fight for it.
No, you know what? You're right. I'm going with the Ole Miss guy. I'm going with the Ole Miss linebacker. You're right.
Okay.
Oh, no, John Ross. I keep trying to take Josh Ross. Core special teamer, team captain, Michigan. It's Josh Ross.
Linebacker Josh Ross from Michigan.
If we're putting our Belichick caps on, I think it's Josh Ross.
Look, I don't know how
Michigan multi-year team captain plays a ton of special teams.
Yeah, in the chat, Alex is the best 7th round mock drafter there is. There is nobody better. It's
a recency bias. If I don't feel good about the last pick, it's going to bug me, and you can't fix it. You can screw up a pick and make.
Can you just take Josh Ross and let's get this thing wrapped up? All right. So
who's Mr. Relevant? It's going to take forever to load. Just start talking.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up our board, and Alex, so you can get the nice fancy PFF one filled out here. Yeah. But taking a look at our board, look, I'm biased. We made the draft. It's our mock draft show. I get it. But if you're unhappy with this draft as a Patriots fan, then you're just not going to be satisfied with any of the mock drafts that we do.
I think that's fair.
Chris Olave in the 1st round is an absolutely slam dunk pick for the Patriots. On top of the fact that he is that number 1 wide receiver, I think his fit in the style of offense that they run, his ability to get open at the top of the route, run a complete route tree, a really, really, really technically savvy route runner already. probably the best body control of anybody in this draft. I just think that him, from a stylistic perspective, fits so much of what they hit on at that position. Like when they have guys that play well at that position, it looks like Chris Olave. I'm writing about him tomorrow. Out of all, so Alex, you remember how much I love Justin Jefferson, right? Like that was my guy in 2019. The only other guy that's gotten me this giddy about a wide receiver is Justin Jefferson. I think Chris Olave is that good of a fit for the Patriots that, to me, it's like Justin Jefferson will be my all-time favorite. I think Chris Olave is number 2 by
I thought
far.
it was Sky Moore. Also, you can pull that up. It's all set.
I do like Sky Moore too. I don't. I think you stopped sharing your screen. You got to
it's screwed up. Hang on.
So Leo Chenal with the second pick here. Not the like rangy coverage linebacker necessarily, but just such a Patriots prototype at that spot.
Have it now, by the way.
Okay. Yep, I got it. Such a Patriots prototype at linebacker. PFF, by the way, this is the best grade we've ever gotten from PFF by far.
Yeah, why is that?
We did. I mean, Alave and Chenal falling to us at 21 and 61 are huge deals. So
also, Zudu is like the one guard it actually likes.
So Chenal, downhill enforcer against the run, aggressive, instinctual, great blitzer. The one thing that they did a lot with him at Wisconsin that I think will translate is blitzing him over the center and the guard from on the line of scrimmage, like in a mug front look. The Patriots love to do that out of their diamond fronts as well. So I think Leo Chenal, his blitzing acumen, his on-off the line acumen, his downhill play against the run. And then you also, I know everybody's screaming for speed. This is a guy that tested extremely well at the combine. So in my mind, the perfect marriage, Alex, between their old school thumper and the new age linebacker. You're getting a little bit of both here. So you're not completely sacrificing what they've had in the past, but you also are getting a little bit more athletic than Jawan Bentley, Landon Roberts, those types of players, right? You're evolving a little bit here.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. I think when I look at players of both linebacker and corner, it's how do you marry their concepts, the Patriots' traditional concepts, with some of the newer things other teams are doing and the new ways you need to defend it. And I think Chenal's probably close to the middle of that. He's probably a little more old school than a guy like Troy Anderson or Quay Walker, but he's close enough that I think he can get by.
Yeah. So next here, I McCollum. I keep on comparing him to Kyle Duggar because I think it's such a good comparison, but he plays outside corner instead of safety. The best combine workout that we have ever seen a cornerback have ever in terms of all around athleticism. I ran a 6.48 second 3-cone drill. We know the Patriots like the 3-cone, 4.3 in the 40-yard dash at 6'1", 200 pounds. I mean, they just don't make guys like that. Like, he's like a superhero playing corner. 13 career interceptions at Sam Houston State, dominated there, Senior Bowl invitation. He's Kyle Duggar. It just plays corner instead of safety. And we didn't take him in the second round. So we got him a little bit later than I could easily see the Patriots taking him in the second round. Like, I think that they could easily reach on him. So I think getting him in the third round is a nice compromise. Like, most people probably have him in the fourth. For the Patriots, I think he's a little bit higher.
Yeah, no, and he's a guy they'll reach on. Like, you got to remember to throw out the projections when it comes to Patriots. If they like a guy, they'll take him. You know, there are a couple guys we did that with later on, Tyler Beatty, Christopher Allen, but no, he's going to be a fit. He's going to come in, he's going to play.
Rasheed Walker, tackle from Penn State, go a little bit against the grain here, taking a Penn State guy, but I think that his upper body strength, his grip strength, his power, ability to move guys off the line of scrimmage, I think that a lot of his traits fit what the Patriots will look for in tackles. I don't know if he quite has the ideal range for what we were looking for in terms of pass protection, but I think he's got at least a right tackle skill set for them, if not a left tackle skill set. And we had to get a tackle in here, right? We had to get somebody that could had some developmental upside to play tackle in the long term, start a tackle. I think at the worst, you get a guy that's a really good third tackle. At the best, you get a left tackle. In the middle is right tackle. So I think that checks the box, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're not necessarily counting on him. Unlike those top three guys who are probably going to play and probably going to have to play.
Yeah,
you're not counting on Walker necessarily in 2022, which is fine. The idea is when Isaiah Wynn leaves next year, You have a guy you can slide into left tackle, can start week 1, and you don't have to go, essentially with the year to develop him, you're using a top 100 pick on that position this year instead of a top 50 pick on him next year.
Right. Okay. So Josh Jobe, we both really like Josh Jobe. Physical press man, outside corner from Alabama. I think what I like so much about this double dip is that I think Jobe, despite some of his shortcomings, right, and he does have some speed limitations. He's not fast. He does struggle a little bit down the field on vertical routes when he's not jamming guys at the line of scrimmage. But despite those deficiencies, if they have to hold off on playing Zion for a little bit, then I think Josh Jobe is somebody that can play right away.
So the one thing I'd ask you, how much of Josh Jobe did you watch from 2020?
A little bit, because his 2020 tape is definitely better than his 2021 for sure.
Specifically, you mentioned the speed. He played through a foot injury most of last year.
That's true.
And yes. I think that impacted it. So here's why Josh Jobe falls. Here's why he's not, because at this time last year, we thought he was first round pick. Here's why Josh Jobe falls. There's 2 reasons. He had played on a foot injury last year, and as a result, he was inconsistent. He took a step back. I think that scared some teams off. He's also very scheme specific. He's a press man corner. That's it. He's not going to do anything else. So there are certain teams that just won't take him. I don't think either of the scheme thing is not a concern for the Patriots. He's a scheme fit for them. And the injury thing and the inconsistency in 2021, first off, they get a good read from Saban on him, which I think they would get. I know Saban likes him. And on top of that, and I mentioned this kind of when we took him, Ramondre Stevenson had a better 2020 than 2021. Ronnie Perkins had a better 2020 than 2021. Cameron McGrone missed time in 2021, right? Like as long as their production's there, and as long as it's not a constant 3 or 4 year backslide, they're okay with it. So I think they will value Josh Jobe higher than other NFL teams will. I could see, you could see them taking Zion in the 2nd. I could see them taking Josh Jobe in the 3rd. I really could.
Yeah.
So
I love the idea here, because we got Zion, who's the high upside corner prospect, right? I think that Zion has the athletic ability to be maybe even like a Pro Bowl corner if he develops, right? So that's the upside pick, but Jobe is like the steady guy that they can just put out there, right? And I think that's worth something, worth a lot, especially when it's Jalen Mills and Malcolm Butler and Terrence Mitchell that you're staring at right now, right? So the fact that they can throw another guy in there, Josh Jobe, that they can play as a rookie, I think that goes a long way. All right, so then we traded back up because we traded down and we traded back up to grab Tyler Beatty from Missouri.
By the way, for the record, Patriots averaged 3.8 trades per draft. So we actually are under on the trades here. And everybody thinks I trade too much, but that means you think Bill Belichick. And maybe you do think Bill trades too much, but this is what they do.
Tyler Beatty, we both love him. Alex, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, really productive player, 1,900 all-purpose yards last year. He's a running back, but he can line up on the outside, play some, or not on the outside, but he can play some slot receiver, good with the ball in his hands, does not fumble, very technically clean player. He's not tiny. He's not huge. I actually don't remember exactly what his size is, but he's bigger than
he's 5'8", 195, 200, like something like maybe he's like 197 or something. He's short,
but he's got the base to pass block. He's not JJ Taylor, right? That's kind of my point.
Yeah.
So if he strikes me as a guy who can play James White's role. He comes from a program. They took a guy from last year, which means they don't hate it. SEC player. We had taken an SEC player. We took Jobe, but I think it might be a little late, but that's why we moved up to get him. And he might be the guy. I could see him being a guy they move up to get. The little things he does are the things that they care about a lot, like the little things he does well. So
really explosive player. Like he's got some speed, he's got some explosion, he's got some ability to run both between the tackles and as a receiver, move around the formation as a receiver, elusive after the catch. I think he's a really good all-around back. I know a lot of people think that James Cook is probably the best do-it-all back in this draft. I think Tyler Beatty is like day 3 version, right? Like a little bit, later on in the draft. They don't want to go James Cook in the top 100. I think he's a really solid choice there.
Yeah. You want me to do a Zudu too? I know you really haven't watched a ton of them.
That's your guy, yes.
Yeah, bigger left guard. I don't think he necessarily has week 1 potential. I think he has year 1 potential. Played a lot, was a multi-year starter at UNC, was a team captain at UNC. Just needs to round his game out. This is what they do. They take these guards in the 6th round, Michael and Wenu. They clean them up technically, right? They take guys that have the body, have the athleticism. They clean them up technically, and they become starting caliber players. So there's a couple guys in that draft that I think have that potential. Zudu is one of them. Made sense. That might be a little bit of a fall for him, but you never know with these interior linemen late in the draft. So
yeah. Yep. All right. I mean, I remember in 2020, I didn't think Mike Onwenu would be there in the 6th round, and look what happened. So
everybody was in a Heron, and not that Justin Heron's a bad player, but that was the guy everybody thought, oh, Justin Heron, they might have something here.
Oh, I loved Onwenu to begin with. Yeah, I really loved Onwenu, but I will admit that Brandon Thorne, who we had on a few weeks ago, was the first one to introduce me to Onwenu before the draft, and he was the one that was really the ringleader of that one. Christopher Allen from Alabama, really injury-riddled career at Alabama. Otherwise, if he's healthy, stays on the field, who knows? I mean, he could be a top 100 pick. That kind of talent, right? So, physical, well-made, NFL-ready frame, very, very good edge setter, can play the run and rush the passer. He's got a complete skill set if he can stay healthy. The reason why you're getting him all the way down here is because he's always hurt. So the Patriots take chances on these types of guys all the time. They take chances on these types of guys, and I think Christopher Allen could be another one of those. You get the thumbs up from Nick Saban. He stays on the field. You get lucky, stays on the field. I think that he's got some real strong side edge potential for the Patriots. I think he could start at that position if he's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a risk. You don't know if he's going to barely play in college, but in the 6th round, these are the kind of guys you're taking, and I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. DJ
Davidson, Arizona State. Got to get an Arizona State Sun Devil in there.
That's the thing now. 6'3", 327. To quote Felger, he's a fat kid. He's going to come in, play on 1st and 2nd down, eat blocks, help him stop the run. He's not going to do much beyond that. Not going to give you tons of pass rusher. He's not going to, move around and play end or anything, but they need a guy to sit in the middle and eat blocks. And DJ Davidson's going to do that. So, this is I McCollum, Noah Ellis, Atito Ogbanoa from UCLA.
Yeah.
Who was the other one that we talked about from LSU? Neil. There's a bunch of these guys throughout the draft.
Yeah, Neil Farrell.
Neil Farrell. Davidson was the guy in the spot. So there you go.
Yeah. Block-eating nose tackle. Really, really good draft for two-gapping interior linemen / nose tackles, whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Shades, nose tackles. This is a really good draft for that. There's not – those guys are kind of like – they're a little like dinosaurs. They're a little like the thumping linebackers, right? You don't see them come out as – this is particular draft happens to just be awesome in that spot.
Yeah.
So I think the Patriots have to come away – all right, they don't have to. I expect the Patriots to come away with one of those guys, whether it's Ellis or McCall or someone like that, right? I mean, there's too many of them not to.
I personally want Marquand, but I did take any of them.
Yeah. Okay. And then your special teamer there at the end.
Yeah. Josh Ross, kind of weird player. He played middle linebacker for Michigan. He was a multi-year team captain. I just want to pull up his number of starts here. But he's going to fall in the draft. He played like downhill, early down, run stopping linebacker, that kind of role, but he's 6 foot 227. So he's not big enough to play that in the NFL. He did run a 4.79 40. So basically the idea is he knows how to get to the football. He's a good tackler. He's not big enough to play linebacker. What do you do with those guys? Special teams. They cover kicks. It's going to be a really good locker room presence, leader, all of that. 7th round. Yeah, that's the pick. That's kind of the guy you're looking for.
Yeah, so we're taking him here in the 7th round, which is great. And I know that Patriots fans...
I wouldn't take him any earlier than this. He's probably UDFA. But so this is from his scouting report here. The first line. Ross is an intangibles guy who offers terrific leadership, competitive fire, and will likely play special teams. That's the whole thing. That's it.
I understand a lot of Patriots fans roll their eyes at the special teams thing. I get it.
Keep rolling your eyes when they get 4 punts blocked again next year. Like that. That's what I would say.
At the same time, they weren't good on special teams like you just said last year. Secondly to that, Brandon Bolden's no longer here.
Yeah.
I think, Nate Ebner's, I think that was a loss. Like, I think that ended up feeling that. Brandon King no longer here. They have to
soon
replenish some of these guys. They got to get some of these guys, new guys in the building. We don't know how much longer Slater is going to play exactly. So they got to get some more of these kick game guys in. That they're going to prioritize that. I'm not saying that they have to, but they are going to prioritize that at some point. It's not going to be early, but at some point they're going to care about that.
Yeah. No, well, so the other thing too, like you look at a guy like Josh Jobe, a lot of these Alabama guys play special teams because the roster is just so loaded. It's the only way they can get on the field as freshmen, right? So Josh Jobe's probably going to play special teams as a rookie. So you have two guys there. You have Jobe, who's probably more of a gunner.
And I'm sure I McCollum could play special teams.
I McCollum's going to play special teams. He's on the outside too. And John Ross is going to be an interior special teams guy, kind of the Nate Ebner, Brandon King role. And if Christopher Allen's healthy, he's probably in that role too. So they did get some of those guys.
So this is a good draft. If the Patriots had this draft next weekend, I think we'd all be pretty happy. We'd all be
if they get Alave right there, I'm thrilled. But
we're all amped up for Alave. That would be great.
This would be pretty cool. I think, you know what? And I'm not like, we made the picks. Obviously, I like all the picks, but Alave, Chenal, McCollum, Beatty, like those four guys, those are like guys like I look at where I love it. Like if they walk away with a guy like that, that's a guy I'm going to be excited about for camp. That's a guy I'm really going to be, I think they really hit here. Not just they took this guy. Like it can fall into two buckets. It's here's why they took this guy. I can see why they took this guy. And then there's, I'm very glad they took this guy, right? Like those guys fall into that second category.
Yeah, Tyler Beatty and like mini camp and OTAs is going to be a treat to watch, right? Like that guy is going to be a menace when before the pads go on, and he'll be a good player with the pads on too. So I wouldn't worry about that. But Chris Olave at the top, Leo Chenal, we did pretty good here tonight. This is, I think, probably the one that will make the most people happy that we've had out of all the mock drafts that we've done. 5.0, I think, scratched the itch for Patriots fans here. I think we got what we needed out of this.
We got one more though to get it perfect.
One more next week. We are also next week on Tuesday. We're going to do a first round mock draft. So 1 through 32. We'll do that on Tuesday. We will also do. We're not going to call it 6.0. We're going to call it the final Patriots mock draft. That will also be next week on Thursday. So Tuesday, get ready for the first round. I'm excited for that one. We've done a bunch of these already, right? We've done a bunch of the Patriots versions. 1 through 32. That's going to be a lot of fun too. So we'll have that on Tuesday for you guys. We'll obviously talk about the first 20 picks and how that sizes up for the Patriots at 21 as we go through it as well. So it'll be a lot of fun. Maybe someday we'll do a mock draft without trades, but the Patriots aren't going to do any mock drafts without trades. So
here's the thing, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Like that's, I feel like that's all. The trades are half the draft. I feel like you're kind of leaving it on the table. You're leaving the house with one shoe if you do a mock draft without trades. I know people hate how I do them, but the other cool thing about this, Evan, we've talked about this. These are the kind of exercises the Patriots are doing right now at Gillette.
Yeah,
and
especially at this point, right? Like this is they've all the homework is done. Now it's just about what's going to happen next week.
They have somebody in the other room pretending to be GMs from various teams calling in and saying, would you do this? Or they're calling the other guy or whatever. Like, this is what it looks like. This is what it is. So I like the trades. It's fun.
All right.
I come from a family of lawyers. I'm a negotiator.
That was a lot of fun here tonight. Like I said, Tuesday, first round 1 through 32 mock draft. Next Thursday morning, before the first round, we will do our final Patriots mock draft, and we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're 1 week away. Now we're basically at the point that maybe the Lions will be on the clock now.
It's going to take. Why is that showing up? You know, the people wanted a Boston Sports Minute.
I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, that's from Sports Hub stuff earlier today, but
I love that picture. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right.
Look, the Celtics rule. There's your Boston Sportsman. This team
Celtics rule. We don't have time for the Boston Sports Minute tonight. We'll do another one again soon, though, once all this draft stuff wraps up. But we'll see you guys next week on Tuesday for that first round mock draft. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. We had a lot of fun doing this, and we appreciate everybody for tuning in. All the people in the chat, we love all of you guys. Thanks for coming in and leaving your comments and all those types of things. And we'll see you guys next week. So signing off for Alex Barth, I'm Evan Lazar. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a good weekend.